naturopathy because I'd become vegetarian back in '87 when I've been traveling, and a friend of my parents, actually, my mom's convinced me to become vegetarian, and I was like, I gotta learn about nutrition. And my mom had been a midwife and that sort of thing, and always been into preventative medicine. She was a nurse and always got me into preventative medicine. And I was interested in herbal medicine. I had a bit of experience with different herbs when I was younger, which are only just becoming legal now, but they got me interested in the power of herbal medicine and things like that as well, and plants. So that's what got me started, actually, was mostly the nutrition side of things. I wanted to learn more about nutrition, being more of a vegetarian from a political perspective, or of animal rights and that sort of thing. And then my first year I ended up of naturopathy. Well, I'd been at university for about a year and a half doing philosophy, psychology, government, political economics, and comparative religion and education and that sort of thing. And I was like, kind of a bit lost at Sydney University, going, what am I going to do? I'm interested in the meaning of life. I'm interested in helping people, but doing a Bachelor of Arts wasn't that practical. So I ended up dropping out, and then a friend of mine encouraged me to become a naturopath, and so that was the sort of start of my journey. Back in 1990, I did my first year of massage, and I actually started doing meditation and things, given up all drugs and things by that stage. But I found the massage to be very interesting, actually. It was good. It was just a standard sort of 1 year kind of remedial massage. It wasn't that great, but I'd never had a massage before. So, and back in those days, it's different than, this is going back almost 30 years, so massage wasn't that common. All right, so I don't even remember the word when I was a kid. It wasn't part of people's radar back then. But I liked it, and I did a year of that. But what really got me into it is I was working at a health food shop in Bondi Junction, actually, called Macro Whole Foods, which was probably the best health food shop in Australia at that stage, and got taken over by a big company now, and it's all over Australia. But I was working in there and packing foods in the basement while I was studying. And I used to go, they had a shiatsu clinic upstairs, which is the Japanese acupressure massage. So I used to go up and get shiatsu sometimes, and I found that really amazing. That was a different dimension of my diploma of remedial massage, because it went into all the meridians, it went into all of the energetics of things. I could go in there feeling quite, with a bit of brain fog, or just feeling a bit out of it. I could come back and feel, wow, I feel really centered. So working with all the different meridians and the energies and that sort of thing really impressed me, and some of the people there invited me to come along to their class, and their teacher ended up diagnosing me, and he didn't even feel my belly. He actually felt around it, and he's going, oh, you've got a sore ankle. And I had a sore ankle, and it wasn't because I was limping or anything, because I wasn't, but I had a weak ankle for several years, and it was just fascinating. So I ended up doing my 1 year diploma of shiatsu with Shiatsu Ryoho Center in Sydney, and that to me is what really got me started. The massage got me a bit started, and I was sort of doing it, but it was just a very basic form of massage, but shiatsu got me like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And then I ended up working with a lot of different people who had done different styles of shiatsu, because you have things like Zen shiatsu, you have all sorts of different, it's like martial arts. For those that have studied martial arts, there's all sorts of different schools of thought. So I ended up studying with a lot of different shiatsu therapists. Some that had trained at the Tokyo School of the Blind, who were really, really just amazing with their sense of touch. So that was the start of my journey anyway, back in the early 90s, and by 95 I moved up to Byron Bay, which was like an alternative lifestyle capital of Australia back then, before it became a kind of yuppie sort of place that it is now. But back then it was really interesting, and I remember still, again, getting a massage from a guy who used to do push-ups on his fingers, and he was an expert in Chinese medicine. People used to say, oh, if you go and see John, it's going to hurt like hell, but you're going to feel a lot better. And I had this sort of vague lower back pain, and nobody could really fix it. And he found the exact source of it. It was further down, and he fixed it. And yes, it hurt, but it was good, and he understood Chinese medicine again. So it was looking more at those energetics of things. And I ended up studying Chinese herbal medicine, understanding far more about Chinese medicine, and I also then later, because I've been practicing meditation, which was a type of yoga, or meditative yoga, and I ended up getting very interested in Indian medicine, so I did my diploma in Ayurvedic medicine. So I did a lot of study, that was my 5 diplomas in the healing arts: remedial massage, shiatsu, naturopathy, Ayurvedic medicine, and Chinese medicine. And then by that stage, by the late 90s, when I got those qualifications, it was more just about working with different practitioners and starting to see what could happen. One lady in particular, again, I was just in my 20s back then, luckily I got started quite early. One lady in particular taught me so much about the breath and about integrated breath therapy. Carol Starr up in the Gold Coast in Australia, she used to do what used to be called rebirthing, where you would breathe into your belly and you basically breathe into your emotions and let them out. And I'd had a lot of trauma from when I was a child, growing up in Miami, and a lot of fighting and things like that, and being picked on because I lost my hair. And so I had all this, emotion come out, and anger and sadness and everything, and I was like, wow, this is really amazing. I found it, and I felt so much clearer afterward. And I started to combine that with the massage. And that's when I started to get pretty amazing results by the sort of late 90s. And people used to go to me, well, where can I learn what you're doing? And that's when I started teaching. And I started teaching partly because people had come to me and asked how they could learn what I was doing, but also people were coming to me and they'd spent 6 months at a big college, like in Australia back then. The government started to get involved in regulating the massage industry and making one-year courses and everything. And people would do like 6 months of it and want to come to me and go, oh, look, I was interested in massage, but I hate the course I'm doing. I'm thinking of dropping out. It's not for me. And I look at them and I go, oh, you actually have a good sense of intuition and you have a good sense of awareness of people. You'd actually be a good massage therapist. But what's happened is that the courses were so intellectual and so irrelevant to the real world of massage that the people were just like, I'm just, in theory, I said, look, I'll just come and I'll teach you in 4 days more than what I'll teach you in a year at college. And that's how I started teaching. So that was in sort of 97 to 99, I started teaching just part-time. And then by 2000, I was teaching full-time. Everybody started to really like it, so I started teaching around Australia, and then just started teaching around the rest of the world after a while. So that's what I've been doing for the last sort of 20 years, is just teaching people, and one of these guys all joined in the fun, and evolving the style of massage too. So obviously I'm teaching, but I'm practicing on thousands of people all the time. So I'm always thinking about how can I improve, first of all, how I teach, but second of all, how can I improve my massage in the way of finding and getting your attention. So what I've also tried to do is simplify. There's all this knowledge out there, and you can do all these different massage courses. Like for me, I had to learn, anatomy, physiology in Latin when I did my naturopathy and my massage. Then I learned Sanskrit terminology in my Ayurveda. I learned Chinese terminology when I did Chinese herbal medicine. I learned Japanese terminology when I did my shiatsu. And for a guy like me, who'd done a few too many drugs when he was younger, not all of it stuck. What was that word? I have enough trouble learning languages these days, right? So I do learn a bit. I can learn a bit. But I also think, well, what's the relevance of this? So what I always try and think about is, first of all, what is the purpose of massage? All right, and I know different people say different massage and all that, but that came down to the point of it. After traveling, a lot of the time I spent was just traveling around the world, getting treatments and looking at finding the best therapist I could. And you got to go, what is the purpose of massage? Because a lot of schools end up just thinking that it's about teaching a routine. So do 20 different maneuvers in an hour. We work up here, then we do this, and then we do that. And I always have a classic story. When I was in Tasmania, I went in I was feeling a bit stressed, went in for a massage, and they're like, oh, we do 1 hour or 1.5 hours. And I go, I'll get a 2 hour. Can I get a 2 hour, please? And they go, oh, we don't do 2 hours. So, all right, I'll get 2 1-hour treatments. We make jokes in Australia about Tasmania. 2 1 hours, please. And you know what they did? Is they did 2 1-hour routines. They did 1 hour, and then they did the whole routine, and then they started the routine again. And I was like, wow. That's what they're learning at a 1-year school. That's what they're learning a lot, is doing a routine and then learning muscles, names in Latin. Okay. I was like, wow, So that's also where not to go, in my opinion. So it also comes down to, what do we want to achieve here? And that's really what I've sort of focused on in my teaching and everything, is to cut through the bullshit, okay? If you're not going to use it, we lose it, right? Otherwise, we're just learning all this stuff to impress people. Like a lot of the time, why are we learning how to speak Latin? It's to impress the other people that are, descendants of the fucking Romans that invaded everywhere, and think they're better than everybody, We don't need to learn that. You can if you want. that's extra, that's additional. It's the same way, but you could be a very good therapist and not speak Latin at all. You could speak Japanese, you could speak Thai, you can speak anything. One language and way of describing the body is not better than the other, you know. And it's a very culturally imperialist way of approaching things that everybody has to learn Latin to be good. I think it's very insulting. In fact, too many of the cultures where there was no history, you know, of Latin, and the Latins have no history of massage, which is interesting, okay? So some of the things, too, that I found in learning all these different styles was the idea of what it is to be a human being, okay? That's a very, very important thing, because a lot of massage these days is very, what I call materialistic. And it's just looking at muscles, looking at bones, looking at blood flow or lymphatic system, but it's not looking at the person, okay? So a lot of ancient systems of massage, like Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, it's all about the life force, okay? And that's actually the big difference between naturopathic medicine and Western medicine. We call, in more simple English, we have the vitalistic system of medicine in naturopathy. That's how we describe it, because it's all about our vitality, our life force, which in Chinese would be qi, or you know, in Ayurveda would be the prana, or the atma, or the soul. And the massage reflects that philosophy in those countries, okay? That's why Chinese massage is all based around the movement of the qi. All right, Ayurveda is based upon the movement of the prana and the nadis, which are subtle energy channels. Now, what I found is that there's a correlation between the physical tension, so our physical body, and these subtle energy channels. Okay? So that's when I first started teaching massage. I would teach a lot about meridians and things like that. But then I started to realize too that even in these different systems of thought, especially coming from Asia, there's differences of opinion. If you look at Thai massage, they have what they call the sen lines. They tend to be straight, whereas meridians tend to sort of cross over, particularly at this point here. There'll be a whole crossover of the liver and spleen. And what I found is it's more important to actually feel what you're doing than to know theoretically, even if it is an Oriental system of medicine. It doesn't necessarily mean it's any better. Not only that, it's just like I was saying before, that there's, in China and other places, there was always different schools of thought. It's not like there's one agreement. It wasn't until after the Cultural Revolution in China that they decided, oh, we're going to standardize everything. Before that, in China, they had different martial arts schools that all had their own theories, and a lot of the massage was actually associated with these temples, with the martial arts as well. So it wasn't one standardized system of thought. So that made me really come to this whole idea of we need to work on what we can feel, not just from the intellect, okay? And that's where the gradual evolution of the band theory has come in, because it's something that you can actually feel, these bands. They're not a theory. They're on anybody. I can show you that these bands exist, okay? And underneath it, there's the energetic imbalances associated with it. Whereas I can't necessarily show you certain things about Chinese medicine, because I've never felt them myself. There's certain zigzags that the gallbladder meridian does through here that I personally can't feel. So I'm more of the opinion, if I can't feel it, I'm not going to teach somebody else that it exists. I only want to teach you guys things I know that you do. Okay? And that's where Raynor Massage came in. So by about 2004, 2005 of teaching, we used to call it therapeutic or remedial massage. And then people were like, well, this is really different than what other people are doing. And so that's when we started calling it Raynor Massage. But it's still in an evolving state. It's still always, you know, we're always looking at new ways of doing things and how to improve. Okay? And with 7 billion people on the planet, there's also quite a lot of variation within people, all right? Which makes it always interesting. Okay? But we have found, as I say, that that these bands really do work in terms of finding and getting rid of tension. So we got to look at what is the goal of Raynor Massage. And I can sum that up really quickly for you. And that is to find and get rid of any residual tension in the body. Okay? And now residual tension means tension that's there when a person's lying on a massage table at rest. Okay? Does everybody understand what I'm talking about with residual tension? Okay, so that we always want to keep in mind, what is our goal? Our goal is to find and get rid of that tension, because tension follows intention. Okay, we don't want to just be, especially as advanced practitioners, people that are just going through the motions of doing things because that's what we were taught to do. You always have an intention. Okay? So first of all is your diagnosis, and that's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to cover a lot about diagnosis today. And then it's how we're going to get rid of that tension. Now, most people actually need 10 to 40 hours of massage, on average, if they're under 60. And once people are over 80 and that sort of thing, we can easily extend that to 100 hours. All right, I've been working on this. We've been working on this. One lady actually, she came into our class in Gympie in Australia, 83, and never really had a massage before. And her doctor was about to put her in a wheelchair. She could hardly walk, and she had so much tension, it's unbelievable. But she's now been having treatments twice a week for almost 2 years now, and she looks 20 years younger. But she still needs more treatments. That's how much tension, because you can only work so much before it's at her pain threshold, right? So but each time she's making a 0.5% progress or whatever it may be, you know, and there's obviously some setback. But her doctors can't believe it because they don't have anything that can fix that level of arthritis that she had or anything like that. So it is a lot more difficult to fix people who are in their 80s and turn them back around. Much better to treat people when they're younger, get rid of tension, and then keep it that way. Okay, so does everybody understand the difference between what I call excavation massage and maintenance massage? Does anybody understand what I'm talking about?
Not really, no.
No. So excavation massage is taking a person. Well, first of all, if we look at the goal of Raynor massage is to get a person to a point where they have absolutely no tension.
Mm-hmm.
Every time when you touch them, everything is soft. It's just soft. You're not working on them and finding any tension whatsoever. Once we've reached that stage, that's the best we can do for that person with massage. Obviously, there's things then like nutrition and other therapies that could help them achieve a higher level of health. But from a massage point of view, that's the goal. Once we get them to that stage, then we move them into maintenance, because life will have its way of gradually building up their tension. Okay? So that's the difference. So we got a new person comes in, they're over here, we want to get them up to here. All right? How are we going to get them on that journey is on that excavation one. That's the most difficult part. To keep them here is really easy, actually. They just have to make that commitment to keep coming in for treatments. And that may be once a week, that may be once a month. It may be twice a week if they're in a very stressful period. As a massage therapist, I recommend you get, even if you've got to a point with no tension, I recommend you get a maintenance massage at least once a week. All right? But the way you find out is you go, okay, if they're at this level and they come back a week later, how long does it take you to get them back to that point where there's no tension? Okay? If you can do it in an hour, then great, that's how much they need, 1 hour a week. If you do it in half an hour, then they either need half an hour a week or once every 2 weeks, something like that. Okay? So if you're working on people with high levels of stress, emergency services, workers, or soldiers in combat, you may need to do more because they've had a very stressful time in that. If you're working on people just surfing, it's just more like they've been paddling out and catching a couple waves and that sort of thing, and their shoulders have been tied down and had a very stressful, emotionally stressful time. It's just, wow, I didn't catch that wave. Yeah, poor thing. Yeah, your children didn't die in a car accident or anything like that. Yeah. So anyway, it depends on that level of stress, right? But what we're mostly going to be focusing on in this course is getting the person from here to here, which is your excavation, okay? Because that's the hardest part. And how to get them there quickest, right? Rather than go kind of in this loopy road of here and here and here and eventually hopefully get there. I want you guys to go that straightest path, all right? So there's certain factors that we need to figure out on when we have person A here, getting them up to their optimum level of health from a massage point of view. Anybody, what's the optimum level of health from a massage point of view? No tension, right? No tension. That's what we're teaching you. That's what your qualification is about. Okay, unless you're also qualified in nutrition or something like that, then you can, or flower instances or something else where you can also help them in other ways. But from this point of view, it's simple. No tension. Okay, so we can diagnose a person. We can go through. Most tension exists on these bands. Okay. So we can diagnose these bands in a simple way by giving them a number of 1 to 10, for example. Okay? And we could start off and we could go, okay, the big toe belly band's 9 out of 10 tight, this band's 7 out of 10, this one's this. And these are things that we do use sometimes called soap notes, which I can email you guys a copy of if you want to, and you can actually document this then, the progress because sometimes it's nice to have it in a documented form. You know, you don't have to. You can just go, okay, let's just get there and not worry about the paperwork. But it's good to, you know, it's good to know that. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is diagnosing and then how we're going to get them there the quickest way possible. All right? So that's sort of what this whole advanced course is all about. Right? But one thing that I want to say beforehand is that this, what I'm going to teach you, is only for what I call green lights. All right? So one thing I've come up with lately is this concept of assessing a patient in more ways than one. And the first way we assess them is, I talk about a red light, yellow light, or green light. Okay? And that means to do with, do they want to get better? All right? Because this is what we call the partnership model of medicine. And it involves not just us doing something to somebody else, but them working with us. That may be involving deep breathing. That may be that they need to have what I call a non-judgmental frame of mind towards their emotions. All right? Because sometimes when we deep breathe, we can have emotions come up. We can have feelings come up. Oh, I'm going to cry. If we go, oh, crying is wrong, I shouldn't show crying as a form of vulnerability in front of other people, I'm going to lock that down. When you lock that down, you lock your tension in. Okay? So a green light to me is somebody that's there, they go, look, it's just like what Dave, you know, I use the analogy of like, hi, I'm Brandon, I'm an alcoholic. That's what you have to do when you're at Alcoholics Anonymous group. The same thing is here. Hi, I'm Brandon, I have tension and I want to get rid of it. They won't let you into an Alcoholics Anonymous group if you don't admit, first of all, that you're an alcoholic, and if you don't want to get better, why are you here? Okay? So a green light is that same thing. Hi, I'm Brandon, I have tension. I may or may not know why I've got that tension. It may be physical, it may be emotional, it may be me being out of touch with what I call my dharma or my spiritual purpose in life. It may be any different reasons. But no matter what, I'm willing to work with you to help get better. And that working with that person is what I call the bridge of trust and building that relationship. Okay? But without that, that's not a green light. Okay? So what I'm going to teach you today, or in this course, is definitely for green light people. All right? Yellow lights are the people that are going to be like, I'm not really fucking sure about you, you know, and what you're doing and all this weird shit that you know. But they're not going to be when you say that. So the bridge of trust isn't there, or they're like, you know, I'm a man, and I'm told that men don't cry. I'm not willing to give that up. You know, we get that a lot in Australia, you know, with the older generation of men. Or I'm not fucking angry. Yeah, some people are really angry telling me they're not angry. It's like, just let your anger out. Okay, you're not angry. So emotional denial, you know, like that could be a red light actually, but you know, it can also be a yellow light. So a yellow light is somebody we need to sort of bring on board. Or, well, we don't, it's not only our responsibility because it's their choice, right? We always respect the fact that it's their choice. It's not completely up to us as a therapist to help everybody. That's a mistake that a lot of people make when they first start out. It's up to me, I've got to help everybody. No, it's not. This is a partnership model of medicine. We need to enter into that partnership. We basically show people what we can do, how we can help them, and then it's up to them. It's not your responsibility to make that decision to help people, because it'll end up bad, basically, if you try and help somebody that doesn't want to be helped, especially if they've got something like repressed anger. Guess where the anger goes? Onto you. You brought it up. You're the reason I'm angry.
Sorry, Brandon, some people's physical tension, I'm not talking about emotional or physical tension, is so normal to them that to let that go as well is difficult for some people, I've found.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even, they haven't even touched the emotional, it's the physical that they are holding on to and don't want to let go.
Oh, that's right. It's what they know. Because when you let go of tension, I remember even working on one of my teachers here, well, Karen, remember she taught you, right? I did an 8-hour treatment on her, and afterwards she said to me, I didn't know who I was anymore. Because we build up these false ideas of who we are from childhood, you know? We get conditioned in school, we get conditioned to be a certain way. Don't be like this or be like that, or you're a, you know, whether it be a patriotic thing or whether it be a defined role as being dependent upon your gender, or whether it be whatever it may be. if it's not true to who you are, it's what I call a fake identity. Okay? And most of us are living with these fake identities, often through socialization methods, right? And so then people kind of define themselves that way. I am, a white male, I'm British or I'm Australian or whatever, or I'm a, supporter of a football team or some stupid way of defining themselves, right? Or something, I don't know. A lot of people have what I call false definitions of who they are, right? I'm a sweet girl. Or I'm a, you know what I mean? Like, it could be anything, you know what I mean? So it's not just men that have these, women have these things as well, right? It's all sorts of different things. But if it's not true, then we conform who we are to fit this definition. I call it like a social straitjacket, right? So when we're dealing with that too, it brings, and that could be physical. We could think it's physical, but it's like a concrete straitjacket that some people wear, okay?
It's also a negative, though, people being told they're not good enough, and that comes
Yeah.
out as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because then they're like, well, I'm not good enough. You're like, well, why not? You're always good enough. Why are you not good enough? You are who you are. Just accept it. That's how that's health. When we look at it from a mind, body, spirit point of view, that's what we're trying to achieve on that level, is just accept who you are. Just be who you are and be the best person of who you are. You know what I mean? So that it's like the light of your soul shines forth, through your eyes and through just your being, and your heart is open and you can love people. That's the best you can be. So yeah, that's exactly right. There's a lot of people who've been crushed. Society likes to crush people. It's easier to control people. Governments like to crush people. Do you know what I mean?
Don't stop me off on that.
Yeah. Because what we're actually also about is empowering people. Empowering people to be true to themselves, true to their hearts, true to all of the different energy centers. We can be ourselves. So it's very important. That's what health is, and that's what this process actually takes place. And that's what tension is involved in. That's the amazing thing about this whole thing, is why do people become tight? It's such a fascinating thing to think about, and it's different for each individual. Okay, and that's the thing. We're dealing with new people all the time. Like, I don't know most of you. I don't know why you guys have become tight. And that's your personal journey, in a sense, and I'm not going to get too involved in it. I mind, it's interesting, and of course I'm there, and I'm present with you, and I'm supporting you, especially if you're a green light. If you're a yellow light or a red light, if you're a red light, I kind of just go, fuck it, I'm out of here. Don't waste your time with red lights, that's what I say. And I hope you guys don't get offended by swearing. Yeah, because I swear.
Silent attendance.
What's that?
Silent attendance.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Australia, so. We swear a lot there, so.
Yes, they do.
Every second word is a swear word, so, But you guys will get used to it. It's just my language,
I tell people that don't put yourself through it if you're not going to, people come, and like I said, nobody's ever fallen asleep. And I tell people, if you're not going to work with me, don't come back, because I don't need to do the sales pitch.
Yeah.
I can come and be a part of it.
Yeah.
But don't come back.
Yeah. So that's your first thing. That's your first thing when you're working with somebody. Are they a green light? Are they a yellow light? Or are they a red light? Because there's times where you just go, this is a red light. We are not going to be able to build the bridge of trust. We're not going to be able to work together. We're not getting on the same page. We don't even have the same goal. It's like if you're finding tension in the person and they're going, no, I'm not tight there. That just hurts because you're pushing it. Those are classic things, To me, they're classic indicators of a red light. No, that's not, it's you that's the problem, not me. Because I always say our first treatment on somebody is a guided tour. First time I'm working on somebody, I'm like, you're tight here, and I'm also then assessing, do you acknowledge that what I'm saying is true? Because if you don't, I'm not your therapist. I don't want to be. I don't want to be a therapist for somebody who's living on another planet than I am. Because problems will develop, and people can sue you, right? People can hate you. People can accuse you of something. He was really he's mean. I get a lot of that in my YouTube things. Oh, you're a masochist. No, I'm not. I'm finding people's tension and getting rid of it. See, that's the thing. If you're not on the same page, guess what? Oh, you're just hurting me. Who wants that, right? Especially with this deep, intensive style of massage, right? That's not what we're doing. If you're interpreting my intention trying to come and help you and put up with all of your shit, which is, I always say we're a glorified sewage worker, because we're going in to everybody's bad energy, all this stuff that's separating the wheat from the chaff. If you look at the pure energy of the real person, we're going in there and separating all their crap so that their diamond or their soul can shine forth. So I'm a glorified sewage worker. I'm just working with everybody's crap, and you'll know that if you get intensive at this kind of work, you'll go home and you'll go, I need a shower, because I have picked up so much crap from people today. You know, so it's a sacrifice that we're doing in that sense. So if somebody's going to sit there and accuse me of then going, I'm just here to hurt people, I'm like, oh, fuck off, you know, just get out of here, you know. So that's why I say we don't want to work on red lights. That's the sort of bad energy that can happen. Waste of your time. You're accused of, oh, you're just, you know, because you're bringing up their stuff. All right. And if they're not going to acknowledge this is my stuff, you're headed for a very bad treatment. I've been around in this profession a long time, and I've seen a lot of people at red lights, okay? Whether it's 15, 20% of people. You just want to get rid of them. You've reached out, you've made the effort, you've explained what you do, they don't accept it. Where is it going? Where's the relationship going? Okay? It's not going anywhere, except down. There's no elevation. As tension clears, when you have a good relationship with a client, it's like you both, it's very rewarding.
It's enlightenment, isn't it? Because you're literally lessening their load.
Yeah, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and you're both rising up in a spiritual way. That's a green light. Wonderful, absolutely beautiful, you know? Yellow light's kind of like, oh, fuck, you know, all right, look, you're a kindergarten fucking student, look, you're fucking tight, all right? But you do that in a polite manner, especially in England, right? You know, I do say, I feel some tension here, you know, whatever, however people are going to go about it, do you know what I mean? Like with the manners and all that, you know? English people are famous at that, right? I'm just kidding, sorry, I've been around in this profession far too long. I just don't beat around the bush anymore, right? But that's what it is, it's like you're tight here, do you want to get rid of it? Yes, no. I'm here to help, but I'm not here to fuck around. Right? So that's what you want to see, first of all. Are they a yellow light, are they a green light, or are they a red light? Get rid of the red lights. Try and educate the yellow lights. But in the end, it's their decision. They're either going to go, you want those yellow lights to either go red light or green light. Oh, I understand. Oh, finally, yeah, okay, I got it. I got what you're trying to do. You're trying to help me. Yeah, that's right. All right? That may be difficult. So we're always establishing a relationship with a person, right? That first thing is establishing a relationship. You don't know me, I don't know you, you know? Who are you? Hi, nice to meet you. This is what we're trying to do here, right? Do you understand? Okay, should we get on with it? All right, so you've all probably seen that in your treatments with people, right? It takes a bit of time. So often, most people are going to come in as yellow lights, and you're going to try and steer them to be green lights. It takes a bit of time, it takes some communication. It's even better if their friend has referred them to you, right? Those are the best ones, because it's like their friend has changed them from a yellow light to a green light. It's like, oh yeah, well, you know, he may get in there, it may hurt, but you're going to feel so much better. Oh, great, that's what I want, you know? They come in, yeah, John, they trust John, you know? They don't know who you are, but John trusts you, therefore you've already built up a bridge of trust. Okay, great, we can get on with the green light business, right? The yellow light is a more sort of formal, it's a bit more of a kind of, let's dilly-dally around on the surface a little bit, right? Getting to know you, you know, maybe you make some, till you can make that connection with the person. The person goes, look, I trust you, let's get on with it. And I'm willing to, and I trust myself. That's really important. It's not just about trusting you, it's about, I trust myself. This can be scary in the sense of confronting old emotions. A lot of people describe like old emotions, say for example, coming up, it's like, ooh, all this dark, you know, whatever. If you've got some dark shit on there, you know, it can be scary to let that out, right? Or it can be scary to let out vulnerability. Like, I don't want to cry in front of you. You know? I'm only crying in front of myself. I like to maintain this myth that I'm incredibly, you know, strong and whatever, you know? Whatever bullshit you've got come up in your mind, you know? So, you know, some people want to maintain that, right? So that's what I want to talk about first of all. That's your first assessment. And you're going to do that through, obviously through feeling, you know, what's going on, but you're doing that just through your relating with people. You're doing that through your initial explanation of what is Raynor Massage and what's it all about, and seeing how that kind of goes down with people. Oh, no, I just wanted something relaxing, or, you know, oh, okay. This is actually the ultimate in relaxation massage, okay? Because the word relax means bring back to a state of looseness, okay? So they don't even know what they're talking about.
I think, from a yoga perspective, I often think that, you know, you've got to get yourself back into balance. So your heart, your head, your mind, what's coming out of your mouth, everything is going to be the same.
Yep.
And it's getting somebody to that place where they are accepting that actually, yeah, you're right what you're saying. I have got that and I do need to. And it is scary to kind of for people to accept that.
Yeah.
Because it's very comfortable to, I'm going to just keep this tightness because that's who I am.
Yeah, that's right.
So
False
they've got to
identity.
let go of that.
Yeah.
So I think it takes time to let people.
It takes time, and sometimes it's easier at certain times in people's lives, like a midlife crisis.
Right, yeah.
Classic midlife crisis. Fuck, I've turned 45. You know what I mean? My life's been a load of bullshit. You know what I mean? I've been doing a job I don't believe in. I'm fucking like acting like this, and all of a sudden they start acting weird, and they're kind of, do you know what I mean? Because mortality is like creeping up on them. Do you know? A classic time where you go, fuck, you know, do I lead the rest of my life in this full of shit way, or do I actually be true to myself now? Those are great times to treat people. They want to change, and it's like, okay, let's get you back. Yeah, you've been living a life. Even, you know, Pete, you know, like his class, the thing after his exorcism, he said, my whole life's been a lie. That was his thing. He was a real quiet guy in the class, and then he fucking like, oh, you should have, yeah, he's on YouTube there. It was intense, right? Really intense, like, woo, you know?
Building trade as well, wasn't it? So it was the construction and all that.
Construction in Australia, it's a real blokey kind of.
Yeah, it's how we were there.
That's how they talk. Yeah, exactly. And it was just completely different. Yeah. It was. That was intense.
And even this training always pops up on an equinox for people.
What's that?
This training and even having those experiences always pop up on a
Special time. You're ready.
It's not always the midlife crisis.
No, not always a midlife crisis.
No.
Some people are almost, you know, they almost die. Or, you know what I mean? Like they may have had cancer. They may have had a car accident where it's like, you know, like, oh, death could be here. You know, and time is ticking away. You know what I mean? It's like, do I want to keep living my life as a lie? And somewhere inside of them, they go, no. Those are the great time to, especially for deep-seated transformational stuff, right? It's like, so this season, what I'm going to show you is not about like the quick, you know, like, oh, I'm just coming for a nice relaxation massage. This is for people that want to either transform or just get back, you know, a little adjustment. For people that are already on track, right, who don't have much, then it's just, oh, let's get a bit more on track, you know? It's not always dramatic, okay? So if we look at the more dramatic things are for when people are really out of balance, actually. It's dramatic to shift people who are 10s out of 10 tight or 9 out of 10 to 1, you know? But to get somebody who's a 2 or 3 out of 10 tight and make them a 1, yeah, it's just nice. It's smooth. It's really easy. So don't always think advanced massage is about emotional release. It may not be. Maybe the person doesn't have any emotions that have been stored there. Maybe they've already dealt with them, right? It's not always, you know, there's always going to be emotionally releasing people. They get to a point where they release their emotions. Okay? So don't look at it like that. The simple way to look at it is, our job is to find and get rid of tension. Okay? So once we've got it to that point where the person is a green light and they're like, yes, I'm here, I'm in the right place, thank you very much. I didn't turn in the wrong door. You know? Then I'm here to get rid of my tension. Then the rest of this class, this is where the rest of this class takes place. Okay? But it's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. It's for your people that really want to get better. And then we go, okay, let's get better. Let's do it in the fastest, quickest, most effective way possible. Okay? But not for yellow lights, not for red lights. Yellow lights need to be taken like a little child, gently. Okay? And prove it. Oh no, you'll be fine. You know? Take it easy. We'll just, you know, we'll go a little bit, not really like work at the most you can handle. You know, a green light is more like, I'll just deal with whatever comes up. We're never going to work over a person's pain threshold. Okay? It's just more that it'll, you know, there's always that time where if a person's going to tighten up, that's too much. But it may be quite intense for them on an emotional level, or it may be quite intense for them on other levels. Okay? So that's a green light. Any questions about that yellow light? I think that's very, very important for you all to realize, especially with this intensive form of massage. It's a partnership model of medicine, and don't get your ego caught up in that. Don't you get your ego caught up in healing everybody. I'm an amazing healer. Well, guess what? It's a partnership model of medicine. If you're working with somebody who doesn't want to get better, you're not going to force them to. You're not going to, a lot of people make that mistake. They get too caught up in, I'm amazing, and I've seen it a lot. Sometimes with my teachers, seriously, I've had about 50 people work for me as teachers over the last 20 years, and I've sometimes seen it, and it goes through people's heads, and with other people, and it's like, don't
There
let
is
it.
a bit of that in the spirituality out there at the moment as well. Instagram, it is a bit.
It is. It's very much. It's the opposite of real spirituality. Yeah, ego rather than humility and service. Okay, so it's complete sidetrack actually. It's the actual opposite. So all about me. This isn't all about you. We're servant. So I always say we're a servant of the breath, but we're also a servant of people. This isn't actually. The only thing we get is being a steward's worker. As I say, we're a glorified steward's worker because people go, oh, well, thank you very much. That was amazing. After you feel like you just completely cut me in shit. That glorification, well, thank you very much. I feel so much better. And they're like, yeah, fuck, I hope you do. I feel like I want a fucking shower. There's a lot of shitty energy there. So we're a servant. Really, if it's not, you're there because you love people and you care for people. But it's a messy job. It's like changing, you don't become a parent and go, oh yeah, I love being a parent. You're changing diapers. It's still fucking diapers and shit, I have to deal with, I got a 1-year-old daughter, so I'm like, I love her dearly. It's still diapers and shit. So we're caring about people, we're loving them, but people still have shitty energy. Okay? And so that's what we're doing. All right? So what I want to do now is basically diagnose. All right? So we've got a big group, but I want to show you how I